Back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another Redmond's Roundup. Well, it's not a Redmond Roundup, but I suppose I should just make it because I kind of like this format better. So make sure that you smash a like if you're enjoying it as well, and make sure that you leave a like for man like Enzo's just joined the club. You know what I'm saying? Bam! So it's the first acquisition. Well, it's not the first acquisition of the summer, I suppose, but it's the first one that we've made of the many more that we need to make, because we had McAllister, we had Soboslai, and that was it for a while. And then we go and sign the legend that is Enzo. And by the way, I'm backing it. I'm going all the way with the Enzo train, and if you think I'm shameless, it's because I am. If you think I'm a P-R-I-C-K, then it's because you're 100% accurate. I am 100% that word. And if you type it in the dictionary, my fat ass pops up. So listen, chat, you've just got to bear with me. I'm in my shameless phase. I've been going through a lot, and here we go on many fronts. Right now, is Enzo all's we're gonna get? Because I think we all have a right to be upset about that for sure. I think we'd be upset about the window anyway, but still, there's always about fines and who is the solution and who is the next dude. And one of those dudes that's been named is Doucoure. Now, the reason why that's important is because big news has come out not only regarding Doucoure, but also Crystal Palace as a whole. And of course, we've been looking at the details of how much we would need to pay. Liverpool even inquired about a situation, whether or not it was a release clause. Allegedly, not really confirmed. Might not even get Doucoure. Could be some random dude like Endo, but still, we're in the market. And apparently, according to some reliable, I'll say more reliable journalists. I don't want to just say reliable, because that kind of means, well, now it's got to happen. More reliable journalists, and I'll show you those in a second as well. But the reason, or should I say, the first thing that I would like to show you guys is the news regarding Olise. Now, it's not because it's, I'm not trying to do Chelsea news, by the way. I'm just simply recommending to you the reason why this is important. Let me get it more on a bigger screen. Ooh, that is the wrong screen. That is the right screen. So this is the thing that I wanted to show you. Fabrizio Romano confirms that that Olise will be extending a 4-year deal with Crystal Palace. The reason why that matters is because obviously Crystal Palace didn't want to sell Doucoure. That's why it's important, and that's why Crystal Palace would now be more inclined to sell one of their other bigger assets in Doucoure. I think I meant to say Olise and then Doucoure. So the news is that Olise has rejected Chelsea. Imagine a player rejecting Chelsea. Eat that, Chelsea fans, because you guys were getting too excited for the moment there. So he's rejected Chelsea. He said, right, Top Bowley, F you, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to go and do an Ian Wright thing and just absolutely rock it up with Crystal Palace. It's such a vibey club. Crystal Palace, I think it's just got one of those feels around it where, you know, nice young players always coming through, and they've always seemed to got one of their own. You know, it's like Wilfred Zaha, he leaves, and now Olise is now that dude, turning down big teams for the old Crystal Palace, you know what I mean, son? But that links to us, because then now that's money that Crystal Palace aren't going to be getting for Olise. And they might think, well, hey, we might sell Doucoure if we can get enough money from Liverpool. The only problem is Crystal Palace now might be more inclined to ask for more, because they might not be desperate to sell Doucoure, and they know that we've got money. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is the sources, which is linking us to Doucoure. The reason why it's important to analyse the source and then analyse the story is because then we can try and figure out if this is something that's worth talking about further, or if it's just smoke and mirrors. And a lot of the time, it can be the latter. So coming here from Ed Aarons and Jacob Steinberg. Now, Jacob Steinberg works for The Guardian, and Jacob Steinberg was one of the original reporters. I believe it was on the Caicedo news. It could have been Lavia, but I believe he was one of the first dudes to mention about us bidding for Caicedo. I can't remember if it was the Lavia situation or if it was this, but either way, that's the big news there regarding that. I always need to make sure that I'm on this screen. I'm always forgetting with the StreamYard thing. But this is the news. Crystal Palace are bracing themselves for the Liverpool to follow up on their interest in Cheick Doucoure. So that's one source. Anything Liverpool has also quoted this about Doucoure. There's our man Enzo as well. There was another one that I saw, Dave Ockop, exclusive news confirmed by the Evening Standard. Cheick Doucoure is Liverpool's number one midfield target. Right, and then again, another one quoting Jacob Steinberg. So it's very interesting regarding Cheick Doucoure right now, because Jacob Steinberg, as I mentioned, he's done a lot of good things on the Caicedo thing, or let's say he got a lot of things right. Can he get this one right in a sense of Doucoure joining Liverpool? Will Doucoure join Liverpool? And is he our number one priority target? We still don't know about the ins and outs of how much it would be to cost or in terms of to bid. And then we don't know how much we'd have to pay him in wages. But as there's not really much competition, I don't think that's something that we've got to overly worry about at all. And I think that's why we can sit here and say, do you know what? It might be a free reign if he's genuinely our number one target. So out of 10, I'm going to give that source a 7. I think it's definitely more reliable based on what we've seen this window and what we've seen Jacob report regarding Liverpool. I think it's still something we can take with somewhat credibility. Doesn't mean we'll get the player over the line, absolutely not. But we do need a CDM and we need one fast. So chat, let me know in the comments down below. Would you guys want to go ahead and get Cheek Doucoure? Is he someone who breads your butter? You know what I'm saying? Is he someone who tickles your fancy, if you will? I like the idea of it. I think he's 23 years of age. He's physically imposing. He would have never been my number one option and still probably wouldn't be. I've been a big advocate for going out and get Polina. I think he's a bit more right here right now, a little bit more better on the ball, and it adheres exactly to what Jurgen Klopp is trying to do, which Jurgen Klopp has admittedly openly said, I want to play more possession-based football. Whether you agree or disagree with that precedence is up to you. But for me, I'm happy for the manager to go and fulfill his philosophy. I think his expertise comes from not only being a man manager, but a coach. I think that's where Jurgen Klopp thrives most. Even though we can seem tactically inept sometimes, I usually think the players get away with murder at others. And I think that's why it's so easy to blame the manager for tactics. But if the players are just diabolically shit, then the players are diabolically shit. And that's the final premise, right? So that's why I'm saying, okay, Doucoure, fine. If you can find a way to make it work, great, because he's good enough on the ball. And that's what I say for a CDM. I said this about Caicedo. He is good enough on the ball. But the reason why I had a preference for Lavia is because I felt he had a higher ceiling and I felt he was certainly more press resistant, therefore adhering to the possession-based game in which Jurgen Klopp is trying to achieve, opposed to Doucoure, who's just going to break up the play, which is also what we need. So now the question is how much and all this stuff. I'm not even going to speak about the money no more because I know that we've got money. I would estimate that this deal would be between 60 and 80 million, purely because they know we've got money. And now we know, and they also know we're desperate for a centre defensive midfielder. And they also know, well, we also know that we need one desperately as well. So we'd be more willing to pay. And I doubt we'd be as penny pinchy about the actual bids. I think we'd probably be more willing to discuss, okay, then what do you want? And we're not just going to leave it 20% off what they actually want, opposed to or exactly like what we did with Lavia. So yeah, it's certainly one to monitor, I think, in terms of the Doucoure stuff. And Liverpool know they still need another player. And that's why I don't think we should all be too upset with Enzo. First of all, I like the look of Enzo. And I actually want to do a separate video on Enzo. If you haven't watched the stream from last night with Mr. Little, make sure you go check out that stream. It got taken down, but I put up the final 45 minutes. And although it was a very hysterical stream and it was just a lot of fun and jokes, and it was actually really great vibes, we actually broke down the player, his resume. We watched a few compilations, which you won't be able to see on that video because it was copyrighted. However, it allowed us to have a little bit of the eye test as well, because you can't take everything out of compilations. Because I think it was very easy to crap on the signing, like, oh, he's 30, and he's from Japan, and his best ever team Stuttgart, and you have a right to be skeptic over that. But based on what I've seen, it certainly surpasses the basis level of a 30-year-old Japanese fella from Germany. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think he's actually better than that, and maybe can adhere to a more James Milner role. He can play CDM, centre-back, right-back, all these things. So maybe he was just a utility player, a man who can step in for certain occasions, cup games, Europa League games, coming on the pitch for final 30 minutes, and then Doucoure can be the main man. And that's what I like the idea of. So even though Enzo isn't the guy who comes in and be serious competition to compete for the first team, at least based on chances, he seems to be good enough to be a utility player. And that's why I think if you get to Doucoure, he can then bring the potential to be the main man, and he can be the main six, and he can be the one who breaks the play and wins us the ball back, which is exactly what we was missing against Chelsea. We missed that dominance, that sort of assertiveness in the midfield, the presence, really. Even when Fabinho was playing bad, people still didn't really want into that guy. You're not going to be wanting to run into that nugget of a brain. So that's why I think getting Doucoure would be important. There's still many factors. Does he want Liverpool? I don't see why he wouldn't, because again, there's not many teams who are in for him. Can we agree wages? I'm sure we pretty well damn can. I'd be shocked if we couldn't pay more wages than Crystal Palace, especially now that they've just gave Olise, I would assume, a lucrative deal to stay at the club for 4 more years. So it does make you think, now that they've kept the star boy, does this open a door for Doucoure? And will we go and finally get our defensive midfielder? I'm still not all too optimistic. I still need to see more on these reports. But based on original journalism, I don't mind when I see Jacob Steinberg again because of the Caicedo stuff. So you can let me know a little bit more about him in the comments down below if you seem to have more of a track record on his hits and his non-hits in the past as well regarding journalism. So chat, let me know everything that I've talked about in this video. It does seem that we are increasingly more interested in going in and getting Doucoure. So would that be a signing you're happy with? And do you think we'll get it over the line? And also let me know what you think about Enzo. And while you're at it, go and check out the stream that I re-uploaded earlier. I think you'll get a good laugh out of it. But anyway, smash a like only if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you all later. Who the F is that guy here? Peace out.